This is an exclusive session with Dr. J.P. Dongre and Director and DAMA of MoFPI. And this session is aimed mainly to, let you know, sensitize all of you about the, schemes that, that are run by Ministry of Food Processing Industries of India, and these are mainly for the support are mainly for enhancing the businesses of micro entrepreneurs. So I request all of you to kindly take your seats. I request my colleagues to, those who are outside, to request them to kindly come to inside so that we can start the next session, please. Dongre sir is outside. We will right now start the session. We will request all our entrepreneurs who have come here to kindly, if you have any question, sir is here to answer your questions. So kindly, interact with him. And this will be mainly focused on the sessions focused on the scheme. So I request Dr. Dongre, I believe Dr. Dongre is here.
Welcome all of you. So I'll just highlight some of the good scheme of my ministry being implemented for the food processing sector. If you see, the major focus of our ministry is to reduce the post-harvest losses of the perishables. So this is a major challenge for us. We have the ample crop production, agriculture production, but there are huge post-harvest losses also. To convert those losses into the value-added product is the major objective of my scheme, my ministry, to promote the supply value chain, and of course to generate off-farm jobs out of that, and enhancing processing and preservation capacities while supporting MSME sector with financial assistance, and of course to encourage the agro-processing clusters. Every country we have around 30 agro-processing clusters, agro-processing zones across the country. So keeping in with the particular zone, if somewhere there is a cluster of onion production, so what kind of value addition, what kind of processed food of onion can be established in that particular zone itself. So we are taking that approach also to support food processing industry in those particular zone. So I'll explain 3 schemes over here. Number 1, the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. This is the umbrella scheme. And of course, this is for MSME sector, largely catered the requirement of medium and small sectors. Then Pradhan Mantri formalization of micro entrepreneurs. This scheme is exclusively for micro entrepreneurs, since I am told that majority of micro entrepreneurs are participants. They are over here. So I'll split my presentation in 2 parts. I'll explain PMKSY, that is for medium and large entities, and for the micro entrepreneurs, I have another presentation exclusive for the PMFME schemes that will present over here. Third scheme, that is a production linked incentive scheme for food processing. This is especially designed for the large entities, large entrepreneurs who have already set up their food processing, or they have already established their business in domestic market, but if they want to set up their footsteps in global market, for that purpose we are providing the incentives, sales-based incentive under this scheme, that is called PLI for food processing industries. So we'll discuss the first component of the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, that is creation, expansion of food processing and preservation capabilities. We call it as a unit scheme also. This is the major scheme of our ministry, wherein we are covering all the sectors like horticulture, non-horticulture, fruits and vegetable, meat, milk, poultry, fish processing, ready to eat, ready to cook, breakfast cereals, grains, pulses, fruit, honey-based wines, natural food flavors, then jaggery from sugarcane. So whatever the value addition, whatever the processed product out of the agriculture commodity you want to create capacity for that one. So we are considering those activities, those processings under these particular schemes. And if you see the activities for this processing, value addition processing line, like that sorting, grading, blending, blanching, drying, pasteurization, canning, packaging, pickling, fermentation, all activities of the processing, whatever the activities involved in processing, that all being eligible activities under this scheme. Basic eligibility to avail the grant in aid under this scheme is that you have 1.5 times net worth, whatever the grant you are seeking for. If you are seeking 5 crores of grant under this scheme, so you should have at least 1.5 times of your net worth. Minimum 20% term loan required to be obtained of your project cost, whatever the project costs you are posting for your project. 20% of that should be a bank loan. Then the minimum project cost should be 3 crore rupees, and 60% fund of each unit it should be provided for the mega food park or APC, and 40% for the outside of the mega food park. Outside means anywhere in India, if you want to set up your unit, then we consider 40% application out of that. We are providing 30% of the eligible project cost, that is technical civil work and plant and machinery. Whatever the cost of technical civil work and plant and machinery, we are providing 35% of that, maximum 5 crore rupees. If you are setting your project in difficult areas, like northeastern areas or tribal ITDP areas, in that case, or somebody who is belongs to reservation categories like SC, ST, then we are providing 50% of the project cost, maximum 5 crore rupees for this under this particular program. Next scheme I would like to explain, that is integrated cold chain value addition infrastructure scheme. Under this scheme, we are providing end-to-end infrastructure support or infrastructure capacity if you are establishing. So we are providing up to 10 crore rupees. Under this scheme, basically, you'll have to establish the integrated cold chain and value addition infrastructure. For example, if I take example of, say, for example, a commodity like milk. If you say the milk, so right from the collection of the milk at a rural level, you'll have to achieve certain temperature, like 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, chilling temperature. So when you collect your milk, raw milk at the collection center, there itself you'll have to have bulk milk coolers or collection centers. So bulk milk coolers, you are collecting the milk from the farmers, then you are transporting that milk from this bulk milk cooler to the processing unit, your processing unit. So transportation also you require this milk tankers, which also maintain the 0 to 4 degrees Celsius. In processing, if you are doing the value addition of the milk, like pasteurized milk or create separation of cream, making the ghee or paneer or flavored milk, whatever the product you are processing over there, then storage of this finished product in your processing unit itself, you require a cold storage over there, wherein you can maintain chilling temperature, or in frozen condition, minus 18 to 20 degrees Celsius, you have to have that particular temperature, cold storage temperature in that one. Then your finished product you will have to transport to the marketplace. To transport that finished product, you require a reefer vehicle, wherein you are maintaining the temperature 0 to 4 degree or minus 18 degree, whatever as per the requirement of your product. And in the periphery of city also, if you want to store your finished product in particular periphery of the city, and further distribute that product in the city as per the demand or as per the requirement of the city. So this complete infrastructure, right from city, periphery city, whatever the cold storage, then processing unit, there's cold storage, then reefer vehicle, then milk tanker, then bulk milk cooler. There is a complete chain we call it the integrated cold chain, wherein you are maintaining 0 to 4 degrees Celsius temperature from collection of milk to distribution of your finished product. So for that purpose, we are providing around for farm level infrastructure. If you are having mechanized sorting, grading in case of fruits and vegetable, if control atmosphere, cold storages, or IQF line, tunnel spiral freezer, blast freezer, if you are creating this kind of farm level infrastructure. Under the distribution hub, if you are having multi-temperature cold storage, multi-product processing units, then refrigerated transport, insulated transport, then retail refrigerated carts, temperature controlled solar powered retail carts. So all this infrastructure, right from collection of raw material to the distribution of finished products. So complete infrastructure, if you are constructing that, for that purpose, we are providing up to 10 crores, that is a 35% of your project cost, or 50% in case if you are setting up your product in northeastern area or difficult areas. In that value addition processing infrastructure like pack houses, frozen processing units and all, we are providing 50% of the total project cost, or 75% if your project is in difficult areas. Under this scheme itself, we are providing standalone facility of the irrigation projects. Nowadays, irrigation technology is being developed or developing in such a way that without adding any preservative or any chemical preservative in your product, you can increase the shelf life of your product for more than 6 months to 1 year while processing your product to the irrigation facilities. See, if somebody wants to establish the irrigation facility, for that purpose also we are providing up to 10 crore rupees, 35% or 50%, 10 crores in the difficult areas for the irrigation facilities also. All organizations are eligible for the either your FPO or food processing company or self-help group or government or private sector entity. Whosoever wanted to avail, everybody is eligible to avail grant in it under this scheme. Then another scheme that is called infrastructure of agro processing cluster. As I said that in India, different states, they have the different processing clusters. In that processing cluster, if you want to set up infrastructure like mini food park, what you'll have to do over here is develop modern infrastructure of food processing closer to the production clusters or production area, wherein you'll have to establish the basic enabling infrastructure. Like the industrial park, you'll have to establish a small industrial park over there, wherein you'll have to have develop the basic infrastructure like roads, electricity, boundary walls, drainage, water, electricity supply, ETP. These are the common infrastructure you will have to develop, and you will have to provide spaces or plots to the other food processing industry, or you can set up your own food processing industries also in your these agro processing clusters. So for that purpose, to develop this basic infrastructure and making this industrial area, private industrial area kind of things, you will be provided 10 crore rupees for that purpose. And if you want to set up in food processing, minimum 5 food processing industry in this agricultural clusters, so under the unit scheme, we'll be providing 5 crore rupees, for 25 crore for 5 industries over there. So total 10 crore plus 25 crore, around 35 crore rupees worth of grant in it can be available under this particular scheme. Here also, all organizations such as joint venture, government department, FPC, FPOs, PSUs, NGOs, firms, companies, individual, all are eligible to avail grant in it. At least only the, here is a mandatory requirement that you'll have to establish minimum 5 food processing unit in this particular infrastructure cluster mini food park, along with your basic infrastructure. Another scheme that is called Operation Green Scheme, based on pattern of Operation Flood, which has been implemented for the milk processing. We have ministry is implementing this scheme. This is called Operation Greens. This is the scheme for integrated development of which we started. That was only for these 3 commodities like tomato, onion, and potatoes. But now we opened this for all the horticultural commodities. If you want to have that particular integrated value chain project for this particular scheme, so we will be providing around 15 crore of the project cost, that is 35 or 50%, as per the project location, in general area where we'll be providing 35%, in difficult areas we will be providing 50%, maximum 15 crores. But in that particular segment, you will have to have the complete, right from formation of FPOs or clusters and training, workshop, then post-harvest processing infrastructure facilities, then agri-logistics also we'll have to consider under this one, as well as the marketing infrastructure. If you want to set up your own sales outlets across the city, that complete infrastructure will be considered under this one. As well as the stand-alone post-harvest infrastructure, this is exclusively for this cluster, in particular cluster of the agro-processing, horticulture agri zone. If you want to have the infrastructure facility at farm level with identified cluster, along with post-harvest processing infrastructure over there, in that case, 10 crore rupees will be provided under this scheme. Then, as we discuss in morning session, that quality assurance, how important that one, because if you want to make your product in compliance with the global standards, even as well as FSSAI standards, so you require your product to achieve all those regulatory regulations. For that, across the country, we require to have the laboratory, food laboratory network. To strengthening that food laboratory network, we will be providing financial assistance to set up the food testing laboratories. For that purpose, we will be giving financial assistance for the procurement of equipments essential for testing of, as per the food regulations, whatever the testing, what is the LC-MS or liquid chromatography or any other big instruments which require to analyze of either pesticide residues or antibiotic residues or heavy metals. To analyze this kind of product contamination in the food, so we require that high-end equipments in the food laboratory. To support this food laboratory, we have this scheme, so that we'll be giving up to, for the, if private entities they are establishing this kind of lab, so we'll be providing 50% of the cost of equipments. If you are procuring around 5 crore of the project equipment in your laboratory, then we'll be providing 50% of that. 2.5 crore rupees will be given as a grant in it from the Ministry of Food Processing Industries. If government organizations or any universities or any government institution, if they want to set up this food testing lab, then we'll be providing 100% of the cost of equipment to this kind of entities. Then, as I said, PMFE scheme will be having the separate presentation on the PMFE scheme. So one of my colleagues, he will explain all those things. Then we have production linked incentive scheme. This is exclusively designed for the big entrepreneurs who have already established their market network. They have already established their product in domestic market. And if they want to set up, they want to establish their footprints in global market, in that case, based on their export of the product, how much product they will be exporting in the global market. Based on that, what we have decided that we have established the basic sales of their product in particular year, and year on year, whatever they are more than 10% sales if they achieve, so that incremental sale of that particular year, where we'll be providing incentive for these large processors, like ready-to-eat, ready-to-cook products, processed fruits and vegetable product, marine product, because we have good shrimp export from India to US market and even European market also. And exclusively mozzarella cheese, that is one of the big opportunity we are having, because mozzarella cheese made out of the buffalo milk, and we have the world's largest production of the buffalo milk in India. So if somebody wanted to process the mozzarella cheese and export it to the global market, in that case, we'll be providing them the incentive on their sales, incremental sales. One other big component in that is the branding and marketing support. So what we are doing is, if Indian product, if they wanted to place their product in global market or global chains, market chains basically, like Walmart and all, placing your product in the Walmart, in the shelf of Walmart, it requires some money. They charge you the shelf space rental and all. So if every year you are making 1 crore, 3 crore, 5 crore, you are paying the shelf rent to these Walmarts, you submit that proposal to us, we'll provide 50% subsidy on that. If you have spent branding marketing abroad, if you spend 10 crore rupees, 5 crore will be provided by the Ministry of Food Processing as an incentive to you, so that more and more Indian product can be placed in global market. This is basically the incentive, rate of incentive, how year on year, how much percentage will be providing as an incentive. And one of the major component that skill development and capacity development, manpower requirement of this particular sector, food processing industry, we have two very important institute of the national importance, NIPTAM Kundali and NIPTAM Thanjavur. They have all BTech, MTech, PhD in food technology management, and all those courses being carried out over here. One is Kundali, Haryana, and another one is in South India, that is NIPTAM Thanjavur. So these two institutes also are providing a lot of skill, manpower for the food processing industry. So thank you very much, and with this I will invite to my colleague Mr. Vibhor, and he will explain you a little bit more about the PMFME scheme.
So questions from here, sir?
Yeah, definitely. I'll respond to your all questions. Let me finish that PMFME scheme. Please come.
Presentation. Thank you so much, sir. Very good afternoon to all the delegates and all the representatives of the food processing sector. So I'll be briefly taking you through the Pradhan Mantri formalization of micro food processing enterprises scheme that has been primarily aimed at strengthening and upgradation of the micro food entrepreneurs. Now, as you all might know, there are food in itself is a very prominent part of the Indian subculture, and in pop culture also you see a lot of food bloggers coming in, and there are new shows on major television, like for example Shark Tank. So for those of you who don't know, for about over the last 4-5 years there have been roughly about 300 product pitches being presented to the VCs on the show, and among those roughly 300, about 90 pitches have been of food-based products. So that can give you an idea of how fast, how rapidly the food processing sector is growing amongst that sector, amongst the entire industry. Now, why food processing? As sir rightly mentioned, like food processing is very important, and because it immensely helps us in the reduction of wastage and value addition. Now, value addition is a very important part that as a ministry we are promoting, that entrepreneurs, once they are doing the primary processing of the raw produce, they should actively work towards value addition of products, flavoring, developing different variants, or just flavoring or interesting recipes. In addition to that, it can also become a good opportunity for farmers to actually turn into entrepreneurs, and it promotes crop diversification, and it is a major aspect in providing employment. Like while the scheme was being conceptualized, an initial survey was conducted, as part of which it was found out that amongst the unorganized food sector, there are roughly about 25 lakh unorganized micro enterprises. Now it has come down to about 22 lakh enterprises. So now food processing, as I have explained, it is extremely important in addressing the critical issues of food security, food inflation, providing wholesome, nutritious food to the masses, and it also contributes to the overall GDP of the country. Now, if I talk about the micro food processing sector, it is also important to understand what exactly defines a micro enterprise. Now, as per the previous definition, a micro enterprise is one in which the initial investment in the setting of the any kind of enterprise, it should not exceed more than 1 crore, and the annual turnover of the enterprise should not exceed more than 5 crore. Recently, MSME has also come up with a revised definition that is supposedly to be implemented from 1st April April of this year, according to which the revised classification denotes that the investment should not exceed rupees 2.5 crore and the annual turnover should not exceed beyond 10 crores. Now, like I initially talked about how immensely important it is to identify and understand the sheer scale and sheer importance of the micro food processing sector. As per an initial survey done, it was found out that the micro food processing sector contributes to about 74% of the overall employment in the entire food processing spectrum. Now that is huge, and amongst that a large chunk, it was also found out, is based in the rural areas of the country. And within that, we also found out that a lot of these enterprises were family-run enterprises. It could be either second-generation farmers, third generation, and they are trying to get into the food processing sector. And why this scheme was introduced were to there were some really important challenges, critical challenges that need to be addressed. Some of them which included high cost of institutional credit, lack of access to modern technology, lack of value addition opportunities, and overall awareness. Like there was a brilliant session about food safety and hygiene. So today also there are a lot of basic level things that anyone who wants to get into food processing or has been in the sector but is not that well versed with the terminologies, they need to be made aware of these certain things. In addition to that, just to actually market their products, like let's say you have a brilliant product, you've started with a really good product, but you don't know how to market it, how to position it, whether through digital, social media, and all those platforms. It is very important for these entrepreneurs to know about these basic terminologies. And last part is about the unskilled manpower. Like once you have a product that is standardized, you need to have the manpower that can actually continue even in your absence, especially if you are just starting off at a micro food processing level and you have just employed 2-3 people. They need to be well versed with the technologies. So keeping all these factors into play, the Pradhan Mantri Formalization of Micro Food Processing Enterprises Scheme was launched on June 29, 2020 under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. This is the first ever scheme to upgrade and support the micro enterprises in the food processing sector of India. Like I mentioned, the overall overlay was of 10,000 crore, and the scheme envisions to supporting 2 lakh micro enterprises through technical, business, and financial support. The initial layout was till 24-25, but it was extended till 25-26. So the scheme is valid till 31st of March 2026, and for upgradation of micro enterprises. Now, there are 4 key components in this scheme. Now, before I take you through them, I'll just take you through the brief aim of the scheme. Primarily was to enhance the competitiveness of the existing individual micro enterprises in the unorganized segment of food processing industry, to promote formalization, to bring them into a formal framework through standardization, through licensing and proper documentation. The second was to increase access for micro enterprises, FPOs, SHGs, cooperatives, and also to provide them a common facility where they can actually come and just bring their raw produce and get it processed, get it properly packaged, and to also promote the one district, one product approach. Now, this is a very key component of the scheme, wherein the vision was to actually develop clusters, processing clusters all over India. And these were identified based on the amount of processing or the production, agricultural production of a specific product done in a specific region. So let's say wheat is primarily grown in a specific area that was identified, and wheat-based products were denoted to that as a one district, one product. So far, all over India, we have more than 700 one district, one product identified that include about 137 unique products. Now, these are the 4 key components under the PMFME scheme. So I'll just briefly sensitize about that. The first one is the credit link subsidy. This is the main aspect of the scheme, wherein we want to actually support not only new enterprises but also existing ones who want to further upgrade their enterprise or want to buy some machinery. So what happens is they lack the financial access. So if let's say they avail a bank loan, and of the total project cost, whatever the project cost is, on that project cost we give a 35% credit link subsidy, the maximum ceiling of which is for 10 lakh rupees. Now, in that project cost, the minimum contribution of the beneficiary can can be needs to be minimum 10%. It can go above than that, but minimum it needs to be 10%. Rest of it can be a bank loan. And it also needs to be understood that this is primarily for processing based activities, and only a very small part of minor technical civil work is considered. Rest of it is primarily for processing based equipments. There is no working capital. It is only for the setting up or upgradation of the infrastructure of the enterprise. Now, any enterprise that is either an individual enterprise, an FPO, an SHG, or a cooperative society can register as an individual for the individual benefit under this scheme. So what happens is once the entrepreneur avails the bank loan, the amount is transferred into a mirror account, and after a certain period of time, that gets equated into the bank loan amount, and there is no interest to be paid on whatever the amount of the subsidy, the 35% subsidy that constitutes. Second is the common infrastructure. This is also a part of credit link subsidy, but since it also involves a larger chunk of incubation centers, therefore this has been put under the category of common infrastructure, under which this is for slightly larger enterprises that need to set up a common infrastructure facility wherein anyone from outside can just come and get their product processed. They can have about 4 to 5 processing lines of different products. For that, we provide a 35% credit link subsidy, the maximum ceiling of which is of 3 crore rupees. Now, in that, it can include a facility, some labs, or a warehouse or storage. And also for government-based agencies, 100% funding is also given, wherein the maximum ceiling is for 3.5 crores for the setting up of common incubation facilities. Now, the eligible entities in this are also farmer producer organizations, FPCs, cooperatives, self-help groups, any federation of SHGs, or even government agencies can also avail benefit under this scheme. The next part is of seed capital. Now, seed capital is also a very crucial part, because what we also saw that a lot of ladies, especially in rural regions, have formed these self-help groups that are also facilitated by the Ministry of Rural Development and Ministry of Urban Development. So, in collaboration with them, also the Ministry of Food Processing Industries under PMFME scheme provides a seed capital support of rupees 40,000 as a direct grant to each member of the SHG. It is not pertaining to it's not like one SHG will only get 40,000. Each member of the SHG that is engaged in food processing will get 40,000 rupees for either purchase of small tools or for working capital. But this is primarily for only SHG members that are in food processing, because what happens in a lot of SHGs, the members are engaged in different kinds of activities. Not all of them might be doing food processing. So it works in that order. The next part is capacity building. Like sir also mentioned, that capacity building and training is also a very key aspect that we are identifying, that entrepreneurs, especially new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs from slightly lesser privileged sections, needs a major hand-holding. And once they get that, they are also confident, when they want to approach a bank and they want to, they are well versed with the technical terminologies. The bank also has significant confidence for sanctioning a bank loan, and they also feel confident that yes, this person will be able to recover that much amount. So in collaboration with NIFTMs, like I also mentioned, NIFTM Thanjavur and NIFTM Kundli, we have developed extensive modules. These include PPTs, videos, and DPRs for all sorts of projects that anyone wants to set up their enterprise, and they can just go through that. They are available on the portals of NIFTM, on PMFME website, and some of the video lectures are also available on YouTube. So once the beneficiary applies under our scheme, we actually give them product-specific training and entrepreneurship development-specific training, so that they are well-versed with all the major terminologies and technicalities, specifically, processing-based information, like what type of machinery is to be used, what type of product quantity is to be used, where to source it from, and how to actually go about setting up a proper facility. They are handheld through that entire process. Now, this is not only limited to beneficiaries. On top of the beneficiaries, there is another layer of district level trainers, which are also exhaustively trained on these aspects. And on top of them, there are master level trainers. So we have developed a hierarchy in which we are actually implementing all the components, as I will explain in subsequent slides. And lastly, this is another key component which has become a very major important component of the scheme also, which is for the branding and marketing. Now what happens is once the entrepreneurs have developed their brands, or there are already existing enterprises that they are doing good work, but they lack that access or that product standardization. So what we do is this is primarily not for an individual enterprise per se, but for a group of entities that want to come together and form a brand. So it can either be an existing body that is doing well in this space and has a good network of micro entrepreneurs, because the major element under branding and marketing is also as a criteria that the applying entity needs to specify how many people they will be mobilizing further and promoting micro enterprises for the development of the products. So in that 50% of the total expenditure with the maximum limit of prescribed of the project for the development of either state level or regional level brands is provided, and some really great brands have come about with the help of this component as well. This is the online application portal. All the members present can note down the email website URL. The good thing about the PMFME scheme application process is it is entirely online. So you don't need to bring in any hard copies or take the files with you. You just need to log in, and a user ID will be created for you, and the fields are set in such a form that when you do all the entry of the your financials, your projected figures, the DPR will get generated for you. So you don't need to create a separate DPR. The DPR will get generated for you, and that will automatically go to the bank. Now what we recommend all the enterprises is that while filling the DPR, you might want to be a bit aware what details you are filling, especially if it's a new enterprise, because for that the projected figures of the next 2-3 years they'll need to fill in. So we suggest them that they either seek support from either a bank official or a CA. But actually, to ease out this entire process, the ministry also has district resource persons. Now what are district resource persons? These are part-time working officials that are working under the scheme, and specifically from the background of either finance or food technology. What they do is they will actually guide you with the entire application process, and they also get a certain incentive, but that incentive is linked once you receive the financial assistance, and you don't have to pay a dime from your side to them. The entire amount goes from the ministry to them, so you don't have to worry about that. They will hold you along the entire process, whether it is filling of the application, any documentation, speaking to the bank, or any clarity that needs to be sought. They will work with you. So we also have a list of dedicated DRPs on our website also. You can anyways check out. Each district has multiple DRPs working parallelly. So any DRP gets allotted to you and will help you with that entire process. This, just to give you an overall idea how the application system works, is once the application is the primary level registration is done, it then goes for a submission stage. Now once you have filled all the fields in that, it will go to a DRP, like I had mentioned, a district resource person. Once he receives that, he will also do a scrutiny of that, and he will meet you also. He will come and visit your enterprise, have a brief interaction, and then the application will be forwarded to the SNA. Now what is an SNA? So this scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme, which means that it is being implemented by state level bodies. So each state has a dedicated department, a state nodal agency, which works in tandem with the ministry for the implementation of the scheme. Now each SNA, state nodal agency, is further connected with district resource persons and district level committees and the respective bank branches through which the application gets forwarded. So it what also happens is when the beneficiary is filling the application, they are giving an option of filling two banks. So let's say one bank might not feel that it is want to approve the application. They can send it automatically goes to a next bank. So there is that added benefit that you don't have to worry about. Now once that gets sanctioned, and post that in a very brief period of time, the loan disbursement also takes place. The amount comes in the subsidy amount later on comes in the mirror bank account. So all the documents and everything, once rectification is done through the lending bank portal, the DRP and DNO would be intimated. So if there is any minor documentation missing or that needs updation, that will also be marked. So everything is online. You don't have to worry at all. Now, so far under the scheme, more than 1,64,000 beneficiaries have been assisted, and so far the journey continues. I would also like to, these are some of the details that the micro entrepreneurs present in the meeting, in the event today can note down. This is our website portal, www.pmfme.mofpi.gov.in. Our helpline numbers are active from Monday to Friday, 9254997101, 9254997102. And if you have any queries, we have a very dedicated helpline support. You send, even if you call, they readily pick up. We have multiple representatives for that. They readily respond to your emails, and we directly also get in touch with you. So these are some of the details. Now, in addition to that, an added benefit that our beneficiaries also get, the ministry also conducts several events where beneficiaries are given a platform to actually showcase their products. And these stalls, a lot of times, are given free of cost. So one of the key events of the ministries is World Food India, wherein about 100 beneficiaries of PMFME scheme from all over the country have participated and showcased their products, because that stall cost in itself is quite a lot. So as a ministry, we try to ease out that cost and we give the stall on complimentary basis. Rest of the expenditure has to be borne by the beneficiary. So it's actually a great support for the beneficiary to reach out to large scale players, and a lot of the beneficiaries have actually got some great deals, some great B2B meetings, and also interacted with a lot of exporters through these events and secured large scale orders. So this is one of the things that I would like to share. And lastly, I would like to share with you some of the success stories of the beneficiaries that have done some really good work. They have developed some really innovative products, like in kombucha. Moringa is becoming a very these days is gaining a lot of importance for health-based benefits. Mahua-based products, Mahua-based health-specific products are being developed, and there is one beneficiary that, in collaboration with one of the institutes, developed a specific black garlic. It looks like a regular garlic, but once you taste it, it tastes like a dark bitter chocolate. So that's a very interesting technology and very innovative work that our beneficiaries are doing through under the International Year of Millets. There was a series of Millet Mahotsav organized across India in 30 districts, through which a lot of promotion and encouragement was given to our beneficiaries. They felt motivated to develop new products, millet-based drinks, millet-based snacks, millet-based ready-to-eat products. Some of the beneficiaries have developed really innovative technologies that I'll just show you in one of the videos. They are working in freeze-dry products for especially students who are abroad and they cannot, they are not adept to making food. So you have to just open the packet and just put it in warm water and it will be a ready-to-eat food. So they are also getting a lot of good orders. So likewise, I'll just show you some of the success stories.
Varna Rajesh Bharvirkar. My journey into entrepreneurship began in 2024. Inspired by my son's technical education background in this field, we got the idea of ready-to-eat instant meals. What truly fueled our confidence to start this project was the incredible financial support we received from the government's PMFME scheme. They organized a free workshop which guided us through every step, explaining the scheme, the banking processes, exposing us to visits, connecting us with members, machinery suppliers and exhibition opportunities. With the strong support of MoFPI, PMFME and their dedicated officers, DRP and mentors, we could manage to take our first bold steps. Late night product trials, licensing, staff recruitment, marketing efforts, participating in international exhibitions like WFI and AHAR. Every day was a new challenge, but also new learning opportunity. We have also given opportunity to tribal zone workers to work in our unit to uplift them and get sound financial support to them. Today, with having a brand name, Tasty Palette, I feel blessed and proud to say that my entire family supports this project wholeheartedly, and we are moving forward every day, step by step.
Likewise, I'll give you a glimpse of one of the beneficiaries from the Northeast also. They are also doing good work and providing employment, especially to women entrepreneurs.
Namaste. मैं दीपाली सैकिया हूँ। मेरा एंटरप्राइज का नाम है दीपालीज एंटरप्राइज और ब्रांड का नाम है एल्फ हार्वेस्ट। हम लोग लोकली अवेलेबल जो ऑर्गेनिक राइस और पिकल्स और मस्टर्ड ऑयल ऐसे हम लोग मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करते हैं। फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री में मैं इसीलिए आई हूँ, मेरा 2 लक्ष्य है। और पहला है जितना भी ऑर्गेनिक सामान है, ऑर्गेनिक सामान को लोगों तक पहुंचाना और उसके साथ में जितना भी हो सके महिलाओं को मैं इंडिपेंडेंट कर सकूं, वो मेरा लक्ष्य है। और मेरे साथ ऑलरेडी 4 महिलाएं काम कर रही है। एक ट्रेनिंग के दौरान मुझे पता चला ये PMFME स्कीम के बारे में, और उसके बाद मैंने पूरा का पूरा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन खुद ही किया। करने के बाद ये जो स्कीम है वो सैंक्शन हो गया। इट वाज ए वेरी स्मूथ प्रोसेस। और ये स्कीम जब सैंक्शन हुआ उसके बाद में मेरा जो पैकेजिंग के लिए मशीन चाहिए, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के जो मशीन चाहिए, वो सब मैंने ले लिया। 3 साल पहले मैंने अपनी घर की रसोई से 4-5 पिकल्स का वैरायटी लेके स्टार्ट की थी। मशीन लेने के बाद मेरा प्रोडक्शन पहले से 3-4 गुना बढ़ गया। अभी मेरा प्रोडक्शन बढ़ने के बाद रेवेन्यू भी अच्छी तरह से आ गया। PMFME के सपोर्ट की वजह से मेरा जो प्रोडक्ट का जो पैकेजिंग है वो पूरा इम्प्रूव हो गया और इसीलिए मार्केट रेंज भी बढ़ गया। अभी मेरा प्रोडक्ट ऑनलाइन सेलिंग भी होता है और उसके साथ साथ जितना भी नॉर्थ ईस्ट में डिपार्टमेंटल स्टोर है उधर भी सेलिंग होता है अच्छी तरह से। मेरा जो ब्रांड है एल्फ हार्वेस्ट, उसके ज़रिए ये जो ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट है वो घर घर तक पहुंचाना है, लोगों तक पहुंचाना है, ताकि सब लोग हेल्थी रह सके। और उसके साथ में ये भी चाहती हूँ नेशनली नहीं इंटरनेशनल तक मेरा ये प्रोडक्ट सेल हो सके, यही मेरा सपना है। मैं धन्यवाद बोलना चाहती हूँ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड PMFME स्कीम को मुझे और मेरे ब्रांड एल्फ हार्वेस्ट को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने के लिए।
Thank you. Not a video, but our beneficiaries are making it. Not on the video we don't have, but yes, our beneficiary, one of them is doing that. Yeah. I will share. I will get in touch.
आपने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फॉर एग्रो प्रोसेसिंग क्लस्टर के लिए बोला
जी।
इसमें कुछ एरिया रिस्ट्रिक्शन भी है कि दिस मच एरिया इज नीडेड फॉर मेकिंग अ स्मॉल फूड पार्क?
10 एकर्स
10 एकर्स
जी।
एंड एक इंटीग्रेटेड वैल्यू चेन डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट जिसमें आपने बोला
जी।
एंड यू सेड नाउ कि ऑल द सारी क्रॉप्स में ऐड हो गई हैं हॉर्टिकल्चर वाली। सो इन दिस हॉर्टिकल्चर क्रॉप देयर आर क्रॉप्स लाइक कॉल्ड aromatic crops, जो finally becomes a flavoring material for the food products.
Yep.
So all these crops, so the processing can be added into that?
Yeah, that will be considered as a, provided your all aromatic crops should be converted into the oleoresins or flavors for the food.
Yeah,
not
finally
for
it
the
has to
cosmetic,
be, yeah.
not for the cosmetic and perfumes and all those.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Dr. Dongre,
Yeah.
thank you very much for a very enlightened presentation by MoFPI. I'm Dr. Pal. I'm retired director from ICR NRCP Solapur. I just wanted to know something about that. What the MoFPI is taking some action on the recent tariff of the US. So what are the proposed action taken for the benefit of the exporters and the farmers? Thank you.
Very good question. Basically, my ministry is not directly involved in the tariff and other things over there, because DGFT, Ministry of Commerce, is taking care of that one. They are having round of meetings with the US authorities and all, and other things. But provided if in my sector, if somebody is sending some representation, so with positive recommendation, we are forwarding to Ministry of Finance, Department of Revenue for further negotiation, and DPIT, that's the Department of DPIT basically. They are the main players to negotiate for these tariffs and other things, sir. My ministry, they can only recommend those things of the industry representation. We are not directly involved in that one. Yeah, but as far as the GST, earlier the GST was very high for certain processed products. So we have taken up with the Ministry of Finance, and now majority of processed food products are 0 to 12 slab, even lesser than that slabs.
जी
Any laboratories that they can apply over here, even if somebody wanted to start a new laboratory, they can also apply. It depends on who are the applicant. If you are the private entity, then you will get only 50% of cost of equipment. But if you are the government entity, like any semi-government or government institutions or any university, if they want to set up a food technology institute, if they want to set up food testing laboratory, then they will get 100%. Like that.
एक्सक्यूज मी
Yeah,
सर
thank
जी जी नमस्कार आप सभी को।
नमस्कार।
मैं हरियाणा से हूँ,
जी।
डिस्ट्रिक्ट यमुनानगर से। तो सर छोटा सा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मेरी एक कंपनी भी है पापा के नाम से, धर्मवीर फूड प्रोसेसिंग टेक्नोलॉजी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी है, और जो कि मशीन बनाती है जिसमें 100 से भी ज़्यादा प्रोडक्ट बन जाते हैं। उसमें से कुछ यूनिक प्रोडक्ट भी हैं, जैसे ब्लैक गार्लिक है, हम कर्ड पाउडर भी बनाते हैं, जामुन की कैंडी बनाते हैं, और भी 2-3 ऐसे यूनिक प्रोडक्ट हैं। और मेरी एक फर्म भी है, वो फर्म ये प्रोडक्ट बनाती है। क्या मैं PMFME स्कीम में अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ उसको प्रोडक्शन को बढ़ाने के लिए?
बिल्कुल 100% कर सकते हैं।
क्योंकि मेरी
उसको
मैन्युफैक्चर
हम
मशीनें
लोग
भी
कहते
बना
हैं
रहे
कि
हैं।
मैं बताता हूँ आपको कि अगर एग्जिस्टिंग अगर किसी का यूनिट है, इफ दे वांट टू डू एक्सपेंशन और टेक्नोलॉजी अपग्रेडेशन ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट, एम आई राइट विभोर? सो फॉर टेक्नोलॉजी अपग्रेडेशन ऑफ योर एस्टेब्लिशमेंट, यू कैन वेरी वेल अप्लाई फॉर द PMFME। और इससे 2 फायदे होंगे आपके। एक तो आपका जो प्रोडक्शन है वो हाइजीनिकली प्रोसेस, और जो FSSAI के रेगुलेशन के हिसाब से आपका प्रोसेसिंग हो जाएगा, एंड यू विल गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू मार्केट योर प्रोडक्ट इन सम ऑफ आवर इवेंट्स। जब हम मिनिस्ट्री किसी इवेंट में पार्टिसिपेट करती है, जैसे WFI हमारा अपना इवेंट है, तो वी विल बी प्रोवाइडिंग यू द प्लेटफॉर्म टू कम एंड शोकेस योर प्रोडक्ट टू द ग्लोबल कंज्यूमर और ग्लोबल बायर्स।
जी जी, उसमें सर ये क्वेश्चन मार्क तो नहीं आएगा कि यही ओनर है जो मशीनें बनाती है जिसकी कंपनी, और यही फूड प्रोडक्ट बना रही है?
नहीं, तो उसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम? वी आर मोर कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड। देखो, अल्टीमेट ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री का क्या है कि मैक्सिमम रॉ मटेरियल जो है एग्रीकल्चर कमोडिटीज़ को वैल्यू एडिशन में कन्वर्ट करके उसको प्रोसेस फूड बनाना है। अब वो मशीनरी मैन्युफैक्चरर बना रहा है या फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बना रहा है, प्राइवेट प्रोप्राइटर बना रहा है, वी नथिंग टू वरी अबाउट दैट। वो कोई हमारे लिए नहीं है। एवरीबडी इज एलिजिबल फॉर दैट।
थैंक यू।
And I wanted to ask if you're funding for are you also funding for FPOs for a long term or a medium term? And this funding mechanism, does it need that the funds which has been taken by FPOs, they have to be returned back over a period of time? Is it some kind of a soft loan or one time, or it's a grant?
सर, दिस इज अ सब्सिडी। अगर आपका प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट अगर मान लीजिए 100 करोड़ का या 100 रुपये का है, आई एम प्रोवाइडिंग 30%, 35% ऑफ दैट। 35 रुपये मैं आपको एज ए सब्सिडी दे रहा हूँ, दैट इज़ नॉट रिफंडेबल, दैट इज़ अ ग्रांट इन इट। 100 रुपये में 65 रुपये आप ला रहे हो अपना प्रोमोटर इक्विटी एंड टर्म लोन के हिसाब से, 35% मैं आपको दे रहा हूँ एज ए ग्रांट इन इट टू हेल्प टू ग्रो योर बिजनेस।
So this funding happens over a period of time, like medium term or long term? How does
दिस इज
implemented?
बेसिकली कैपेसिटी, मतलब आपका जो कैपेसिटी आप डेवलप कर रहे हैं उसके हिसाब से इसका होता है। जैसे PMFME स्कीम में यू हैव टू टेक, मान लीजिए आप 20 लाख का एक प्रोजेक्ट लगा रहे, छोटा माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, अब उससे यू हैव टू टेक लोन फ्रॉम द बैंक। 20 लाख रुपए आपने लोन ले लिया, 10 लाख रुपए मैंने देना है। वंस यू ऑब्टेन अ लोन एंड स्टार्टेड एस्टेब्लिशिंग योर प्रोजेक्ट ओवर देयर, यू सबमिट योर एप्लीकेशन ऑनलाइन थ्रू द बैंक। bank will process and send it to the concerned authority of state government. That money will be transferred to your bank. मान लीजिए 20 लाख आपने टर्म लोन लिया है, 10 लाख आपके अकाउंट में ट्रांसफ़र हो जाएगा, तो आपको सिर्फ 10 लाख ही रिपे करना है, और आपको इंटरेस्ट जो आएगा वो भी आपको सिर्फ 10 लाख पे ही देना है. दैट काइंड ऑफ
Thank you.
mechanism.
Sir, excellent presentation. Thank you so much. The schemes run by MoFPI have been really very fundamentally useful to many of the entrepreneurs in private sector and also in the government sectors also. I've been interacting with so many people who have successfully actually taken the subsidy from MoFPI and are running it in a very nice manner. So thank you very much to the government and specifically to you, Dongre sir. You have been actually helping all of the business entrepreneurs in a very nice manner. Thank you so much. So the question here is, after 10 years of the subsidy, whatever instruments or equipment, be it retort or whatever these under PFME, people would have purchased it under the ministry grant. After 10 years, the instrument, equipment, whatever it is, will get outdated. They will be beyond repairs. What will happen to those things, because these are actually under the ministry funding? So is it okay to give it back and take a new instrument as a, because it would be scrap anyway. So how is that system mechanism maintained?
Yeah, this is also lot of times we face this problem. जैसे see, this is the machinery, wear and tear, and one point of time we'll have to retire that machinery. And so हम जब कहते हैं कि when you purchase new machinery, you'll have to maintain that particular stock register over there. There is depreciation value of that particular thing. अपने 10 साल के बाद में फिर depreciation value उसकी zero हो जाती है, then safely you can discard it as scrap and have a new machinery. But only record you'll have to keep. कई लोग क्या करते हैं कि अभी ग्रांट इन मिल गई कि तुरंत बेच के किसी को, जस्ट टू अवॉइड ऑल दोज थिंग्स यू हैव टू मेंशन, यू कीप द रिकॉर्ड प्रॉपरली, एंड क्वाइट ऑफन बीच में अगर कभी इंस्पेक्शन होता है तो देन यू हैव टू शो दैट रजिस्टर कि सही ये मेरे पास में मशीनरी आई थी, मिनिस्ट्री ग्रांट मैंने ऐसे ऐसे यूज़ किया था, इतनी मशीनरी आई है, इसमें से 2 मशीनरी अभी ओल्ड हो गई है तो मैंने इसको स्क्रैप में बेच के ये 5,000 रुपये आया था, ये स्टॉक है, नाउ आई एम अगेन रिफर दूसरी मशीनरी लेके ये मैंने स्टॉक में एंट्री कर दिया. ओनली रिकॉर्ड कीपिंग इज देयर.
Much, sir. Thank you so much, and thank you also, sir, for your presentation. It was really nice. Thank you.